We got the primary June 28th, which is a week and a day away. And sometimes when you have, the primary before the actual election in November, you sometimes have these races where the primary is actually where the only action is going to be taking place. And I think the 54th Illinois Senate District is one of those, because looking at the State Board of Elections website, there are only two candidates that have actually gotten onto the ballot for the primary, and those two candidates are Republicans. There's no Democrat that's listed in the 54th Senate District for the primary. So Democrats, if you're going to pull a ballot for the Democratic primary for the 54th Senate District, which encompasses parts of the listening audience here, you're not going to have a candidate on there. So when it comes to the Republicans, there are two choices. One's incumbent Illinois Senator Steve McClure, and the other one is a challenger for the GOP nomination, Don Debolt. And Don joins us here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY. Don, thanks for taking time with us this morning. How you doing?
Well, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So this is one of those interesting races where the outcome really is going to be determined come June 28th. Now, we don't know if there's going to be a Libertarian candidate or a Green Party candidate or any of the independent or so-called third-party candidates. That has yet to be determined, but this is it. It's between you and Steve McClure. Why are you challenging Steve McClure?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for Illinois, and I think we'll all agree, is financial. The state's in a financial mess, and that's the first thing we've got to address in order to come to the other issues, which is law enforcement and education. Darren Bailey's got a good plan towards getting this state turned around. I'm a big supporter of Darren's, and Darren has endorsed me in this election, along with Adam Niemerg and Blaine Wilhauer. But we've got to get this state financially back in order. I'm a CPA, have been for 45 years. I bring a financial background to the table. My opponent is a lawyer. I don't know that he understands fully the financial aspects. He voted to double the gas tax, but more importantly, they voted to put in automatic tax increases every year into the gas tax and on their pay raises. That compounding is going to grow, especially with the inflation rates that we're going into. I don't think he has a clue as to what the impact on that's going to be on the taxpayers of Illinois. We need to get that turned around.
We do plan on talking with Senator McClure later on this week, so we'll get his reaction to that. But what are you thinking are some of the major issues that are going to be impacting taxpayers that's going to be top of mind for them when they go to the ballot box, not just June 28th, but in November as well?
Well, the gas tax, as I say, is one that Darren Bailey has said we need to try to get repealed. Need to get that turned around. We also need to work on property taxes. Most property tax comes from school districts, but most school districts' hands are tied through mandates from Springfield that they send out, but then they don't fund it. I was on the school board for 14 years. Yes, my opponent says I voted to increase taxes 13 years. It's called a levy. It's pretty much an automatic vote. If you don't levy all the money you are entitled to, the state will cut your state aid for the school. So that's a pretty given vote. But we need to address property taxes. If we can get the state to back off on some of these mandates, perhaps we can also get the property taxes to come down.
We're talking with Don Debolt. He is the Republican challenger to incumbent Republican Steve McClure in the June 28th primary. And again, that's a primary that I think is going to determine who's going to take that seat, because there's no Democrat that has filed for this particular district. Your reaction to that in particular, I know you're a Republican, and obviously you have Republican politics here. But what do you think it says that there's not a Democrat that filed to take on this particular seat?
Well, the way they've drawn up this district, it's about 76% Republican. So I think the Democrats have basically conceded it to the Republicans.
Don Debolt with us again. He's one of the candidates on the June 28th primary for the 54th Senate District in the state of Illinois, challenging incumbent Illinois Senator Steve McClure. Don, how can people find out more information about you and your background?
Well, we have a website, dondebolt.com. So if you would go there, you'll find more of what I'm for. I'm pro-guns. I'm pro-life, very much so, and always have been. I would like to see term limits. My opponent has never come out and taken a position on term limits. I think politics should not be a career. I would like to see the end of retirement or pension for senators, legislators, and state elected officials. Again, I don't think it should be a career. I'd like to see the income tax addressed. Seems like the more money we give Springfield, the more Springfield spends, but yet we never get any further ahead on pensions or on reducing our debts. So money's not the issue; it's spending.
Don Debolt, greatly appreciate you taking the time with us this morning with Springfield's Morning News, and we may talk again before the primary, which this is one of those races where the outcome of this particular primary is likely going to mean the outcome in November, because there is no Democrat that is on the ballot for the primary, meaning there's not going to be a Democrat for the November election, but there could be some third-party candidates in the mix as well. Don, thank you so much for taking time with us this morning.
Well, I appreciate you letting me have this time to speak, and I hope folks will take a good look at my record and that they'll consider voting for me.
Appreciate that. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk.